Hey, what's up guys, Rev here. So today we have another round of Nijisanji related drama to cover. Now let's face it, 2024 has been a very rough year for Nijisanji, in particular their EN branch. We've seen some of their recent streams still getting dislike bombed into oblivion on their official EN channel on YouTube. And we've seen the recent congratulations controversy here where this error on their promotional post once again exposed some of their questionable hiring practices as an organization and the students they contract their work out to. And also, we are now at exactly a month since their recent financial report was released for the Q3 of 2024. Now, of course, this was a big disaster, and its results made a big drop in any color stock. Now, what was reported? Well, of course, you can see the Japanese branch had a lot of success. However, when you compare the revenue of Nijisanji EN from Q3 in 2023 to Q3 in 2024, there was a 40% revenue drop. Now, that's very serious, but it's even more serious when you realize that quarter ended with February, meaning February 1st was the beginning of Q4. February 5th was when Selene was terminated. So all of the drama and controversy that's been taking place over the past 2 months wasn't even included in that Q3 report, and they still had a 40% drop in revenue compared to last year. Now, of course, in the report, they also projected their revenue for Q4, the upcoming Q4 that we're currently in, and they have a lot of hopium here, okay? They are saying there's going to be a massive increase, a giant comeback in Q4, and of course a lot of people are questioning that, and they're saying they must have something up their sleeve for Q4 to have this much confidence, and it turns out this is what they were referring to. It is the AR Live concert event, and this is an event that was supposed to happen in 2023. This was something that they were building a lot into, and then at the last minute they canceled due to COVID concerns. So here we are in 2024. This is 2 years in the making, and this announcement was very exciting for a lot of Nijisanji fans. And you can see the promotional post right here. You can see that there's some like missing spots. Well, that's because based on the 2023 version of the promo for this event, they just crudely removed the VTubers that had moved on from Nijisanji EN. You can see Mr. Rios here, you can see Palmu, you can see Selene and Nina. They just kind of removed them from this promotional post and then just used what was left for the 2024 version, which was kind of interesting and also raised questions about how these former livers will play a role in this 2024 event. And we do have some answers to that coming up. But going into the actual event itself that launched on April 14th, Japanese time, the event went over pretty well. I am someone who is very critical of Nijisanji, in particular Nijisanji EN, but I will say this was a win for them, a much needed win, because they've been taking L after L after L this year, okay? And this was an event that went over well with the fans, and there was a lot of things they can reflect on positively. However, just because there were some things that were good doesn't mean that they're immune from criticism and some flaws of the performance that people could raise, all right? In terms of viewership right off the bat, I think this didn't meet probably the high expectations that Nijisanji EN had for this event. That's not crapping on the views that they got. It's just saying it probably fell short of those very big projections they have for Q4. And on top of that, there's a lot of criticism due to the assets, the 3D models that these livers used during this concert. Now, of course, don't go posting any of these screenshots on places like YouTube, because most of the concert was paywalled, and you just know don't post screenshots of paywalled events on places like YouTube without risking some kind of a strike or something like that. But apparently a lot of people have also been claiming that the first 30 minutes, which was live to the public, you're not allowed to post screenshots of that either, which is very odd if that is true. And of course, I don't want to take a chance with Nijisanji and the copyright system here. But overall, here are some of the reactions to the 3D models that were used for this concert event. Of course, I'm censoring, and you can find all of these on places like Twitter. But to describe them to you, I will just say they're not the best. Okay, let's be honest, it's not the best. It's not up to the quality that they should have at Nijisanji EN. Okay, it looks like something straight out of VR chat. All right, I'm just being honest. And there's a lot of very awkward shots where the models seem to be flailing their limbs and outstretching their necks and looking very odd. If this was a small indie company or something like that, you would understand, but not with Nijisanji, and in particular, this event that has been in the making for 2 years. They've been working on this for 2 years, and this is what they came up with, and it just shouldn't be this low quality, if I'm being honest. Doesn't mean the performances were bad, doesn't mean like the vocals and things like that were bad, but the models, they were lacking, if you're being honest. And on top of that, there were some copyright issues, especially with the Billy Billy version of the Nijisanji EN version of this stream, where there was apparently some songs muted because of copyright issues, which again is maybe not so surprising because they've dealt with copyright issues as a branch before. Think about the Selene termination and her music video that had all kinds of copyright issues and was privated because of those issues. But moving forward, we saw some other interesting events happening, in particular with the former talents that were part of the 2023 version of this event and how they would be played out in the 2024. You can see Kuro from VShojo here saying, "I think I was sleepwalking or something because apparently people heard my voice at a concert." And of course, he is the former talent responsible for Mr. Rios from Nijisanji EN, who graduated somewhat recently. And you can see people raising points saying they didn't remove Mista's voice from the concert, and people pointing out that they didn't remove Palmu's, Mista's, or Nina's voices. And the only one that seemed that like it was actually scrubbed out of existence completely was Selene. Now, a lot of people are claiming that this is laziness or something like that. I don't think that's the case at all. I think they wanted to keep these voices in because it's good for promotion for Nijisanji EN, having these former talents, especially the ones who seem to have left on good terms. And the fact that the only one that was not included was Selene is not surprising at all. And honestly, a smart move for all parties involved. And I believe that these people who were featured likely consented to this. They were likely asked. And I know if Selene was asked, there's a very high probability that she said no. I mean, she did not leave on good terms. She's not on good terms with Nijisanji as a whole. Why would she want to be a part of this? And also, even if they had the right, Nijisanji, to include Selene, let's say they had some kind of rights to her contribution to this event in 2023, they would be stupid to include her. It would look really bad and greedy on their part. So whether it was forced on them or they made their own choice, Nijisanji EN not including Selene was a smart move on their behalf. But overall, looking at the viewership of this event, at least the free portion, the first 30 minutes, it wasn't as great as they probably hoped. Like I said, they had probably very high hopes based on those quarter 4 projections. They probably didn't meet those. You can see a random Gargura stream that was happening during the Nijisanji stream getting 26,000 concurrent viewers. Meanwhile, the EN official account was hosting about 23,000, which again, 23,000 is a lot of people. That's not something to waft your hand at and act like is nothing, but for an event this big, 2 years in the making, with all the top talents collaborating together in a concert event like this in one place with 3D models finally being revealed, this is a really big event for the EN branch. And that's what they pulled. And of course, some people raised the point saying, well, this was paywalled. Well, the first 30 minutes where the screenshot was taken, about 25 minutes into the stream, was from the free portion. You would expect that is the highest viewership. If that is the free portion, you would have to imagine that viewership is much more down for the paywalled portion of the stream. And you would think a lot of people would be able to come in for the free portion. And it just doesn't seem like it met what they probably expected in terms of viewership. To give you an idea, for example, Doki Bird's re-debut stream had well over 120,000 concurrent viewers, and a lot of other concert events for Hololive and alike dwarf numbers like that concert event right there for Nijisanji EN. But again, doesn't mean it's a failure, but of course, I don't think it really did much for Anycolor. You look at the stock on April 15th, this is a full day after the concert, the stock not only didn't move, it actually kind of went down a little bit more. That's not really, I guess, the reaction that they were looking for, but time will tell, of course. Maybe some time will pass and this will even out and correct course. Who knows? But overall, like I said, I think this concert was something that was positive. I just don't think it was as positive as they had hoped. I think that's a fair thing to raise about this concert in particular. But some people thought it was the greatest concert ever. And that includes people like Ducky. We've talked about Ducky 1 or 2 times on this channel. He is a self described VTuber journalist who works with Dexerto, who I'm pretty sure holds the record for the number of fact checks on Twitter for their articles that they share there because of all the misinformation and corrections that are applied to their tweets. But anyways, Ducky was live watching this concert saying things like, yeah, no wonder this is paywall. The boys are really the way I'm screaming at the choreo. And then, of course, slay, Uki, slay. I just hope you're not a white male saying that. But in all seriousness, this is the tweet that they got a lot of crap for. So it says, Nijisanji EN should be proud. That was the best performance I have seen in VTubing. The wait was worth it. Now, of course, I agree with this first portion right here. I think Nijisanji EN should be proud, even if it was short of their big expectations for it. I think, especially the people involved, they put on a good show. Okay, we can say that. But do we have to say it was the best performance in VTubing? I think that's a gigantic leap. And of course, Ducky is someone who's been accused of being a Nijisanji simp or defender, or someone who's trying to prop them up all the time, as someone who claims to be an impartial journalist. And tweets like this aren't helping, and they were getting memed on in the replies saying, the best performance I've seen in VTubing. The performance with the CEO here dancing in front of the Kurosanji banner in the background there. And here's some of the top voted replies saying, it's okay to be proud, but not best. We have standards. Is this sarcasm or actually serious? You're just solidifying the idea that you don't watch anything. I wouldn't say best. Oh, come on now. In VTubing, please. Just say you don't watch other VTubers. Best performance I have seen. Bro, watch a second performance. Most cringe and false thing you've ever tweeted, and the bar was insanely high. Good job, mate. And of course, some people would make jokes about this, referring to Hololive's Suisei, saying, but Suisei didn't attend, so I'm confused how that's possible. And then they'd be hit with a block from Ducky. And as always, I mean, you can block anyone. Freedom of association. You don't have to put up with people you don't want to on social media. But of course, if you're going to block them over mild jokes, people can then criticize or make fun of you for blocking someone over those jokes. It's still your choice, and people can choose to react to you blocking them over a joke. And we see some other posts that ratio the initial one by Ducky saying, look, bro, I admit AR Live is probably one of any color's proudest achievements, and Nijisanji EN should be proud that they finally got the event they deserved, but calling it as best performance in VTubing is objectively false in my opinion. We have our own bias, but come on now. Now, of course, I'll be the first to admit I have bias. I think everyone has their own bias when it comes to talking about VTubing agencies. Everyone has their favorite. Everyone has some agencies they dislike more than others. But people like me are not trying to hide the fact that we have a bias. I'm very critical of Nijisanji and Nijisanji EN, some of their livers, their management, but I can still say they got a W here. But of course, if you're coming out as a journalist trying to be objective, and Ducky is someone who has tried to say that on YouTube, people who talk about VTubing news and drama should be held to journalistic standards. If you're trying to get those standards, you need to show that you're more objective. People like me are not trying to be journalists. We're not trying to be objective in every single scenario. I'm going to be biased in certain times, and that's something that I'm okay with. I talk about VTuber news. I talk about VTuber drama, but I also give my opinion on it. That's like the whole thing going on over here at this channel. I share my opinion. I'm not trying to be a completely objective news source that only reports what's here. But if you're going to do that route, people are going to criticize you when it seems like you're taking sides and you're playing favorites. And you can see Kyo here saying he got laughed at for calling Niji's AR Live the best VTuber event he's ever seen and went on a blocking spree. I didn't even say anything this time, so I went to go check out this blocking spree if it was true, because I know that I interacted with one of his posts a few days ago. What was that post about? Well, it was about this Niji sister movement here, where a lot of people were claiming that the Niji sister term is actually a racial slur, instead of the fact, in the reality, that it's simply a term people use for Nijisanji's hardest defenders. However, Ducky was one of the people supporting this and claiming that this was a slur, that the current version is a slur, despite the fact that you can't find any examples of people using it as a slur on places like Twitter, for example. It's just a term for people saying a very hardcore Nijisanji defender. However, I pointed out a series of replies here saying streets are telling me that the emote here, the writing emote that he has in his name, is actually a slur from 4chan. Source for that, guys, trust me, I'm a journalist too. I've changed my mind. I'm a journalist. Just trust what I say. But it's a joke, obviously, and then I got blocked. But I was one of the people on the blocking spree. Again, you're free to block anyone you want. I mean, I have infinite number of people blocking me, and I don't really take it personally or anything like that. I just think it's kind of funny that it was like all welled up and now he's going on a blocking spree over this AR live event and the people clowning on him for it. But again, it's his choice, but I can also choose to find the humor in the whole situation. But anyways, overall, like I said, I think this event was good for Nijisanji EN. At the end of the day, I hope they make good content and make good decisions and their management does the right things. I don't really exactly hope that they implode at every given moment. I'd rather them be a good agency and have good management, things like that. And I'll give credit where credit is due, but I'll also be the first one to criticize them when they're doing bad things, which, given it's Nijisanji, it could happen at any moment. And when they do mess up, they should be held accountable for those things. And yeah, that's really it for today. I know it was kind of a lot of rambling, a lot of yapping in today's video, but there was a lot to talk about with this event and kind of everything surrounding it. So I appreciate you guys listening. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.